Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you to everyone who's tuning in to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Communities of Interest Input meeting. I am Commissioner Linda Akutagawa, and I will be co-chairing today's meeting with my fellow Commissioner Jane Anderson. So today we are offering one language line in Spanish, so Spanish language speakers can listen into the meeting in their native language. Could I please have our interpreters provide our call-in numbers? And can I have the Spanish interpreter read the Spanish language line instructions?
Yes, this is the Spanish interpreter. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. Esta es la intérprete de español. Para los hispanohablantes, por favor, marquen el 888-566-1377 si desean escuchar la reunión en español e ingresen el número de identificación para la reunión, que es el 389-1010. De nuevo, ese número de teléfono es el 888-566-1377 e ingrese el número de identificación de la reunión, que es el 389-1010 para los que gusten escuchar en español. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now let's go to Robbie for a roll call of the commissioners.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Fernandez?
Presente.
Commissioner Foranshari?
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Lamont?
Here.
Commissioner Sadwani? Commissioner Sanai?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Present.
Commissioner Toledo?
Here.
Commissioner Turner?
Here.
Commissioner Vasquez? Commissioner Yee?
Here.
Commissioner Ahmad?
Here.
And Commissioner Akutagawa?
Here.
Roll call is complete, Chair. Sorry.
Thank you, Robbie. Okay, I will start by sharing a little bit about the commission. Every 10 years after the federal government publishes updated census information, California must redraw the boundaries of its congressional, state senate, state assembly, and state board of equalization districts so that the districts correctly reflect the state's population. In 2008, California voters authorized the creation of the Independent Commission when they passed the Voters First Act. It authorized the commission to redraw or draw the new district lines for state senate, state assembly, and state board of equalization districts. In 2010, the Congressional Voters First Act added the responsibility of drawing congressional districts to the commission. The 14-member commission is made up of 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, and 4 not affiliated with either of those 2 parties. The commission must draw the district lines in conformity with strict nonpartisan rules designated or designed to create districts of relatively equal population that will provide fair representation for all Californians. The census redistricting data was released the week of August 9th. When the official California redistricting database is available in late September, the commission will begin drawing maps using 6 line drawing criteria as outlined in the California Constitution. One of these is minimizing the division of cities, counties, neighborhoods, and communities of interest to the extent possible. We can obtain city and county information from those jurisdictions, but we need the neighborhood and communities of interest information from Californians directly. That's why we have launched these communities of interest input sessions. to get that valuable information from you directly. And we encourage all Californians to participate in this process. If you would rather submit COI input over the internet, you can do so from our website or by visiting drawmycacommunity.org. Skip the line, go online. Now, I will call on all commissioners to introduce themselves and to say hello. To see the biographies of all 14 commissioners, or for additional information, or to sign up for our email distribution, please visit our website at wedrawthelinesca.org. So let's begin with my co-chair, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Commissioner Kutagawa. My name is Jane Anderson, and I'm going to be co-chairing this meeting today. And I'm coming to you from Berkeley, California. My connection to the great area east of the foothills and then east of the Sierras is I have cousins who live in Amador County. And I just want to do a shout out to our friends in Alpine County who are still recovering from fires and earthquakes, and all of our friends in Amador who are also being caught up by the winds of this, the fires around them as well. Fires are a big issue in this whole area. So we understand that this might not be the ideal time for you to call in, but for all of those who are going to call in today, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to hearing about your communities and what makes them special.
All right, let's go to Commissioner Isra Akbun.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you everyone for being here to our here in our Community of Interest Input meeting. I'm so excited to continue to learn about the communities across California. So I'm looking forward to a great meeting.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Alicia Fernandez.
Buenas tardes, California. Soy Alicia Fernandez del Condado de Yolo. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alicia Fernandez from Yolo County, your neighbors to the, let me think, west, right? I'm kind of directionally challenged, but that's okay. Commissioner Kennedy is nodding his head, so I think I got it right. And I am so looking forward to the continuing input, and I appreciate all of you that are calling in to provide testimony. But again, this is not the only way to provide testimony. So thank you so much, and I look forward to all of your communities.
Great, thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Neil Fornachari.
Good afternoon, California. I'm Commissioner Neil Fornachari. I'm coming to you from Tracy, California in San Joaquin County. Looking forward to hearing more about your communities of interest and what makes your areas special. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Ray Kennedy.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, California. I'm joining the meeting from my home in Morongo Valley, just north of the San Bernardino Riverside County line on the way to Joshua Tree, here in the desert of San Bernardino County. Looking forward to hearing what makes your community special to you. Thanks again.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Commissioner Antonio Lemons.
Good afternoon, Californians. Buenas tardes. Looking forward to hearing your community of interest input. It's been a very exciting run over the last few weeks, and I'm looking forward to it continuing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Not sure if she's back, but let's go to Commissioner Sarah Sadwani, if she's available. Okay, maybe she is not back yet. Okay, let's go to Commissioner Patricia Sinai.
Gracias. Buenas tardes todos de California. Es un placer servirle desde San Diego. Good afternoon, everyone in California. It's a pleasure to serve you from San Diego.
All right, thank you. And let's see, I don't see Commissioner Derek Taylor, but I'll just say his name out loud just in case. Oh, there he is. He is.
I'm here. Thank you, Commissioner Kutagawa. Good afternoon, California. I am Derek Taylor, joining you today from Altadena, California in Los Angeles County. look forward to all the input from our community members. I echo the sentiment of the other commissioners and look forward to continuing the work. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Trina Turner.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for choosing me. Pick me. Californians. I'm Trina Turner. I'm an ordained elder in the city of Stockton, and I come to you from San Joaquin County, and I never would try the whole directional bit. I have not a clue. I'm in San Joaquin. Hopefully you know where I am. I'm going to learn all about you today because you're going to call in and tell us about your beautiful area, and I will be attentively listening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Commissioner Pedro Toledo.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Pedro Toledo, and I'm a commissioner from Petaluma, California, in wine country. I'm looking forward to hearing your testimony. Appreciate it, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. I also again want to, I don't believe Commissioner Angela Vasquez is with us, but I also want to say her name out loud just in case. Okay, all right, then I'm going to go ahead and move on. Let's go to Commissioner Russell Yee.
Good afternoon, California. And my name is Russell Yee. I'm here in my hometown of Oakland. And all 14 of us represent the entire state. So all 14 of us today are keenly interested in the eastern, southeastern counties, central and southeastern counties of California, and look forward to hearing from you today.
All right, thank you very much. And let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Commissioner Linda Akutagawa, and I am from Orange County, California. So I am a neighbor to the south, although not the far south in San Diego. I'm a little bit north of there, but definitely south of you all in the Eastern Sierras and in the counties that we'll be covering today. I just want to also add my welcomes to you all and also want to echo what Commissioner Anderson said. We appreciate any of you who are able to join in. We are very much aware that in the northern parts of the state, you're facing quite a bit of difficulties with the fires. Unfortunately, I think it's a reality for a lot of people across all of California. So I think we definitely feel your pain and also are really just wishing the best for you all. So we're looking forward to hearing from you and thank you very much. And please encourage, family, friends, colleagues, coworkers, anybody who has an interest in really the future of California, encourage them to get involved either by going online or participating in one of these calls either today or in the future when we have our statewide meetings. All right, so I do want to just note that we are also active on social media. So please also encourage your others as well as yourself to follow us on the California Citizens Redistricting Commission via our social media channels. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube at We Draw the Lines CA. Okay, We Draw the Lines CA. And you could follow us on social media to get some useful information about redistricting, as well as updates about what is happening with the Redistricting Commission. Before we continue, could I please have our interpreters provide our language line numbers one more time? And can I, let's start with our Spanish interpreter. Please read the Spanish language line instructions.
Yes. Buenas tardes, esta es la intérprete de español. Voy a leer las instrucciones de cómo llamar para escuchar. Para los hispanohablantes, por favor, marquen al 888-566-1377 para poder escuchar esta reunión en español e ingresen el número de identificación para la reunión que es el 389-1010. De nuevo, el número de teléfono es el 888-566-1377 y por favor ingresen el número de identificación de la reunión que es el 389-1010 para poder escuchar en español. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this meeting is primarily for communities of interest testimony focused on Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Inyo, Mariposa, Mono, and Tuolumne counties and their surrounding areas. However, anyone in California can call in to provide input. General public comment will take place at the end of the meeting. Although the commission has divided up California into 11 outreach zones, that in no way is related to or reflective of redistricting lines or boundaries. The commission created the zones to assist commissioners and staff in their outreach efforts only, not as an indication of planned boundaries. Today, we are joined by our line drawing team, Haystack DNA and Q2 Data and Research LLC, who will be displaying a map of the area that attendees or callers will be describing. Please start with the areas you would like to discuss and be as specific as possible about the boundaries of where your community is located. It is our goal to find the area on the map that you would like to discuss prior to your testimony so we can all be looking at it. If you are within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention it by name. Once we are able to locate your area, your timer will begin. Attendees will not be able to share their screen. We are also joined by Spanish interpreters, and Katie, our comment moderator, will be introducing attendees when it is their turn to speak. When you join the meeting, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen to enter the queue. If you have registered for a time slot, we encourage you to call in during your appointment time slot. When it is your turn to speak, Katie, our comment moderator, will be identifying you by your assigned unique ID number. You will be reconnected to the session with the ability to enable your own video and/or audio. Registration is not required to participate in this public input meeting. The public has the option of calling in during this meeting to get in the queue to speak. If you do not have an appointment and wish to call in to provide public input, the number is 877-853-5247. Again, the number to provide public input is 877-853-5247. You will need to enter meeting ID number 889-6138-6844. Again, the meeting ID number is 889-6138-6844. This call-in information and access code is also listed on the live stream. You will need to dial this number in order to give public input. Today, we will also have Spanish interpreters available to interpret non-English input at this call-in number. The comment moderator will assign you a speaker order number before you begin speaking, and please make a note of this for future reference. You will be able to use this number to identify your COI testimony on our website at a future date. The commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit for English speakers and a 6-minute time limit for those with an interpreter. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and 15 seconds time remaining. At the beginning of your input, you will see a map on the screen. Please remind the mapper what area you would like to see on the screen and be as specific as possible about the boundaries where your community is located. If at the conclusion of the meeting, there is still a need to allow for members of the public in the queue to speak, we will continue this COI input meeting at a new date and time and will attempt to reschedule the remaining members of the public to speak for the allotted 3 minutes. Please monitor the website as we expect a post-continuation of this agenda within 24 hours. Okay, communities of interest tool. While there are no clear rules on how to define a communities of interest, we've identified ways for you to describe your community. First, begin with your county or city. Second, Mention the street names and significant locations in your neighborhood to help us identify the parameters of your community. 3, what are your shared interests? 4, what brings your community together? 5, what is important to your community? 6, are there nearby areas you want to be in a district with? Number 7, are there nearby areas that you don't want to be in a district with? And tell us why or why not. And then lastly, number 8, has your community come together to advocate for important services, better schools, roads, or health centers, for example, in your neighborhood? Also, we invite you to use the Communities of Interest tool to draw a map and describe your community by visiting drawmycacommunity.org. This website is available in 16 languages. Again, skip the line, go online. Submit your COI input today. And please encourage at least 3 other people to do the same. As a reminder, even though we are focusing on specific counties for this COI input meeting, Californians from anywhere in the state are welcome to provide input today. We will now begin the public input sessions, and we'll start with people who are registered and then open the lines if there is time before the next session for those who have called in. If you are calling in without an appointment, please do not hang up, as you will lose your place in line. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Katie, our comment moderator now.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome to the public input session. Please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen to enter the queue. When it is your turn to speak, you will be identified by your assigned unique ID number, which you received yesterday. You will be reconnected to the session with the ability to enable your own video and/or audio. You will then be assigned a speaker order number. Before you begin speaking, please make a note of your speaker order number for future reference. The Commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and 15 seconds remaining. It is the Commission's goal to find the area on the map you would like to discuss prior to your testimony. If you are within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention it by name. Once we are able to locate your area, your 3-minute testimony will begin. Attendees will not be able to share their screen. At the end of your public input, or at the end of your time, you will be reconnected in a listen and view only mode. At the beginning of your input, please remind the mapper of what area you would like to see on the screen. And at this time, we will have 003, and then up next will be 004. 003, I will be promoting you now. Your speaker order number will be number 1. If you will please make note of that for future reference. You can now enable your audio and video in the lower left corner of your screen. If you will please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Bob Gardner. I'm on the Mono County Board of Supervisors. I'm speaking today as a private citizen within Mono County, but I do believe our County Board of Supervisors and our Council of Governments, the Eastern Sierra Council of Governments, have sent correspondence to the Commission with many of these points I'm going to raise today. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to provide input on California's 2020 redistricting process. Our first priority, my first priority, is that Eastern Sierra counties, specifically Inyo and Mono counties, should be defined as a community of interest with shared state and federal representation. Currently, Mono County is represented by State Assembly District 5, and Inyo County is represented by Assembly District 26. Both counties are represented by California Senate District 8. Historically, our constituents in both counties have felt underrepresented at the state level, largely due to our geographic isolation on the east side of the Sierra Nevada. No state representative maintains a local office in either Inyo or Mono County. Eastern California districts are currently connected to greater population centers on the western slope of the Sierra Nevada and Central Valley that do not share any of those characteristics in common with the east side of the Sierra Nevada. Access to the Eastern Sierra from the west side of the Sierra Nevada requires traversing the 14,000-foot mountain range over high mountain passes, travel that's lengthy and circuitous in summer months, and significantly extended when mountain passes close for winter months. Indeed, these mountains present such a formidable barrier between the Central Valley and Eastern Sierra that no roads cross the Sierra Nevada for a span of about 250 miles. When residents of Inyo and Mono counties need to access urban amenities such as the International Airport or a big box retailer, they tend to travel south to LA or north to Reno, as traveling west over the mountains is inefficient and difficult. Thus, we feel that it makes little sense and dilutes the voice of the residents of Inyo and Mono counties to tether east side residents to west side counties that are so geographically divided from the Eastern Sierra. The Eastern Sierra region has unique and unifying regional issues that would benefit from united regional state representation. Both counties are characterized by significant percentages of federal-owned and managed land, as well as water exportation and land management by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. No other county in the state of California is characterized greater than 50% of private land owned by a California municipality outside their boundaries. Both counties have less than 5% of their land area available for private ownership or development, a shared community and economic development constraint impacting shared regional housing and retail development opportunities. As a second priority, Inyo and Mono counties, I think, would like to share regional representation with other Sierra Nevada
30
counties,
seconds.
including Mariposa County, Tuolumne County, Calaveras County, Amador County, Alpine County, and parts of El Dorado and Placer counties. We would, as well as Nevada County and Sierra County, to form a Sierra Nevada district defined by shared
15.
issues, geographies, watersheds, histories, and cultures. I respectfully request the Redistricting Commission redraw these boundaries to include Inyo and Mono counties within the same districts and to seriously look at shared representation for all counties with the Sierra Nevada, and particular within the Eastern Watershed.
Time.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Right now we will have 004, and then up next will be 001. 004, I will be promoting you now. .004, your speaker order number is number 2, if you will please make note of that for future reference. You can now enable your audio and video in the lower left corner of your screen. If you will please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to confirm you can hear me.
We sure can.
Well, that's excellent. So we need to go down to Los Angeles County. And within Los Angeles County, we need to look at the mighty San Gabriel Mountains and the communities, foothill communities below them, from Pacoima across to Claremont. I don't know if the map's moving slower than you're seeing it, but it's not moving for me.
Just a moment, please, while our
Oh, you
mapper
got it.
brings that up area up for you.
Right. So you move it down a little, and then you'll be looking at the foothill cities that are disappearing there. In any case, move the map south. Can you find the Angeles National Forest? Thank you. Okay, that's going to be, I suppose, good enough. My name is John Munson, and I wanted to talk today about the importance of the relationship of public lands to the congressional districts they're placed in. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the congressional districts where the foothill communities from Pacoima all the way across east to Claremont are located in congressional districts. I was born in Pasadena, and I'm a longtime resident of the foothill communities from Pacoima to Claremont, which are just south of the Angeles National Forest and generally north of the 210 freeway. I worked on many issues involving these mountains, including urging the Obama administration to create the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument in 2014. In 2011, I headed up a group called Citizens for the San Gabriel Mountains, which made the case for to that commission that the foothill cities from Pacoima east to Claremont formed a community of interest based on their geographic, economic, and historical relationship to their yard mountain range, the San Gabriel Mountains, and on the traits they have in common with each other in relationship to the mountains. The proximity of the San Gabriels is a major source of their community identities. Pasadena, for example, was a popular tourist site from the 1860s to the 1920s because they were close to the wilds of the San Gabriel Mountains, where people could escape urbanization and experience wild nature. These days, these communities are united by the threat of wildfire, and many of them are all of them, in fact, have high severity fire risk zones. They share a common geographical orientation to the mountains, and their residents are frequent visitors. Because of the terrain, foothill cities face a heightened risk of floods. Many of these foothill communities have trail systems that lead directly from the cities into the mountains. The range is a source of tourist dollars and local businesses. And we were pleased that the commission in 2011 had a very favorable reaction to our suggestions that they were a community of interest, and we're hoping that you will recognize them in the same way. These cities also share common concerns about the management of the range
30
by
seconds.
the federal government, including fuels and fire management, watershed, and other issues. And the only way they can have any clout in Congress is by having the same member of Congress that represents the mountains to their north. So they need to be in the same districts. Please do not forget the importance of our public lands to the people who live near them. These people need to be in the same congressional districts as the public lands adjacent to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now, we will have 001. I will be promoting you now. Your speaker order number is number 3. If you will please make note of that for future reference. If you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Inyo counties, Mono, Alpine, Amador, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Calveras, and parts of Placer, El Dorado, and also Madeira. Good afternoon. My name is Joyce Kaufman. I live in June Lake in Mono County. The Central Sierra Nevada is a geographically distinct area that comprises the communities that abut the crest of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in the counties I've just mentioned. Although I know the Commission's preference is not to divide counties, in some cases there are reasons to do so. For example, the eastern part of Mariposa, which includes the Devil's Postpile, which is accessed from Mammoth in Mono County. The community of interest described here is mainly rural and frontier. Our community is bonded by the type of person who chooses to live here. We are people who live away from urban centers, and many of us consider ourselves stewards of the rugged wilderness we inhabit. The economy of the Central Sierra depends upon recreation such as skiing, camping, fishing, hiking, backpacking, and small businesses that often support these recreational activities. We face many challenges, including adequate funding of forest management to mitigate and address forest wildfires, concern about water rights, access to broadband, access to air transportation, and access to healthcare. The people in this community of interest share concerns about making the state and federal governments provide resources to our rural communities and therefore request the creation of representative districts that will allow us to speak with one collective voice rather than splitting our community of interest into unrelated state assembly, Senate, and federal congressional districts. At the present time, none of our state or federal representatives have offices in our proposed area, and none of them routinely visits this area. Our current member of the Assembly, Frank Bigelow, is based in Madeira in the southwest portion of the county. While it might appear that Madeira is contiguous to Mono, we are separated by a mountain range, which makes it virtually impossible to traverse in the winter. What is perhaps most telling is that on his website under my district, as of this writing, Mr. Bigelow did not have anything posted about the Tamarack fire, despite the fact that members of his district were affected by it. This really speaks to the important point of making sure that we have representatives who know us, understand us, and can advocate for us. Thank you.
Can we, are you still there? Oh, we just lost her.
Just a moment,
Chair. Can we bring her back?
Yes, just a moment. Speaker 001, the chair had some additional questions for you, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. And thank you for your testimony. I do have a couple clarification questions. You mentioned that you mentioned several counties, including parts of Madera, parts of Placer, and parts of El Dorado. Could you give us a little bit more detail in terms of what parts of Madera, how far into Madera, what parts of Placer and El Dorado are you thinking you'd like to see included in as part of your communities of interest?
Sure. For Madera, we're looking at the eastern part that's bounded by the San Joaquin River. And the reason for that, is because that really makes sure that the eastern part includes Devil's Postpile and other park and natural and forest areas that are in effect accessed through Mammoth, which is in Mono County. So what we're trying to do is make it more contiguous. As far as the areas in Placer and El Dorado, what we're looking at is the parts on the eastern side that abut the ridge or the crest of the Sierra Nevada, which comes up basically about a third of the way into the east. So it's really about a third eastward to the Nevada border. Does that help clarify?
Yes, I do believe so. I think our map drawers got what they needed. You saw them. I don't know if you were able to see where they were, moving the cursor. Is that about what you were thinking? Okay.
Actually, even a little further to the east, but that's roughly it. So it includes the Lake Tahoe area and the areas along that shore. So yeah, that's about right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate your testimony.
Thank you for your time.
And Chair, at this time, that is all of our people in the queue. Would you like me to read the call instructions at this time?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 889-6138-6844 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says the host would like you to talk and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And at this time, we do not have anyone in the queue, Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Katie. Can I have the Spanish interpreter also give the same translation of the call-in instructions so that we can ensure that we have everybody able to or interested in calling in, they all have the information.
Hi, Chair. This is the Spanish interpreter. I can go ahead and give the call-in instructions. Would these be the full call-in instructions?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and give the full call-in instructions.
Sounds good. Aquellos que deseen escuchar la reunión en español, llamen al 888-566-1377 e ingresen el número de la reunión 389-1010. De nuevo, ese número es 888-566-1377 e ingresen el número de la reunión 389-1010 para aquellos que deseen escuchar esta reunión en español. Si usted desea dar su comentario público, el número es 877-853-5247. De nuevo, ese número para dar su comentario público es 877-853-5247. Necesitará ingresar el número 889-6138-6844. Tendrá que llamar a este nuevo número para poder dar su comentario público. Si necesita un intérprete para su comentario, habrá un intérprete disponible en este número. Si llama para dar comentario público, no cuelgue o perderá su lugar en la fila. Gracias. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Katie, I do see that we do have someone. I do want to encourage everybody, please call in. Again, remember, you can call in from anywhere across the state, although we do want to encourage those from our Outreach Zone G to please call in and give us your input. Katie, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
All right, Chair. Caller with the last four, 3981. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute at this time by pressing star 6. Caller 3981, your speaker order number will be number 4. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
I'd like to discuss the area from Inyo County up through Nevada County along the border with Nevada.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Ocilla Zeleny. That's Ocilla. Last name is Deleny. I live at 277 Hillside Drive in Mammoth Lakes, Mono County, California. This region depends on tourism. National parks and national forests draw folks from around the world. Skiing, hiking, camping, backpacking, fishing, music, and film festivals are some of the additional attractions that support numerous small businesses. As a result, a sustainable environment, affordable housing, reliable broadband, accessible health care, and transportation are key. Naturally, wildfires, mining operations, forest management, threats to clean air and water are concerns. To address all this, state and federal representatives need to live in this area. They do not. This is reflected in their lack of concern for this area, demonstrated in their newsletters and on their website. The crest and east side of the Sierra Nevada mountain range brings geographic commonality to the rural areas located in the following counties: Inyo, Mono, Madera, east of the San Joaquin River, Mariposa, Tuolumne, Alpine, Calaveras, Amador, and portions of El Dorado, Placer, and Nevada, including the Lake Tahoe Basin and Truckee. Folks who live here prefer less congested wilderness areas to urban living. They enjoy sharing the wonders of this area with visitors, encouraging them to treat this land with care and respect. Please keep us together and eliminate the outliers who do not have these same common interests and concerns. For example, they have nearby access to urban areas with access to hospitals, medical specialties, airports, multiple broadband providers, and the like. The Sierra Nevada mountain range provides a clear demarcation. Going further south from Inyo County would likely continue the challenge of having state and federal representatives located distant from the needs and concerns of Zone G. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Reading off the instructions the last time seemed to have inspired somebody to call in. Hopefully that was a result. Why don't we play the 5-minute video that anyone who's watching, maybe it might inspire them to call in, and we'll just be back in 5 minutes. All right, thank you so much. And hope everybody who is watching found the video interesting. Do you want to just remind folks that we would love to hear your public input testimony? If you prefer to do so online, that is fine too. But if you are inspired to give us your testimony based on what some of the other callers have said, please do call in. Otherwise, for anyone else who's listening and you're from outside of the region, I do want to also encourage you to consider calling in as well too, if you'd like to call in about your particular community. In the meantime, we haven't done this in a while. I'd like to perhaps maybe see if our commissioners might have some news stories that they might want to share with us around our Zone G counties of Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Mono, and Inyo. We've done memories. I don't know if any, Commissioner Anderson, thank you. And I had to expand it out, otherwise the way it's set up right now, I can't see anything but 4 people at a time. So I'm trying to scroll through things.
Yeah, since we've had a couple callers from Mono County, I'd talk a little bit about my adventures in Mono. I don't have a great deal of adventures. I've been there probably 2 or 3 times. Unfortunately, that's not nearly enough. I cannot say enough about it. If you've never seen Mono Lake, it's something you must see. It is literally like, of course, being on the moon. And I believe they actually did some of the preliminary, certainly a lot of filming is done in that entire area for ideas of, you're on the moon, that sort of thing. But there are some actually gorgeous areas through Mono, further north. Unfortunately, far north, that's where that earthquake, the 6.9 earthquake, not that long ago, did some damage to a lovely, interesting, I don't want to say it's a tourist shop, but it sort of is. It's an art studio that they unfortunately have artists from all over the world. And unfortunately, it got damaged in the earthquake, and they're trying to rebuild. But Mono also has a sneaky way up into the back of Yosemite, which if you've never driven that, going from the desert floor up and over into Yosemite, it's a very, very fun to do, particularly in a very fast car. So I'll just leave it at that, and then hopefully some other commissioners have some fun things to say.
Thanks for sharing that, Commissioner Anderson. I know that even though statutes of limitations may be up on speeding, I think we don't want to admit too much publicly about some of our law breaking, right, Commissioner Taylor? Okay, let's see. Anyone else have any stories that they might want to share about the region? I did get another suggestion of a prompt, but I thought I'd ask about any other stories you might want to share with us about the region. All right, well, let me share this suggested prompt. So would anybody be willing to share their favorite voting memories or their first voting experience? Commissioner Anderson. All right.
I'll do one because it wasn't in California. It was, I won't tell exactly sort of where it was, but let's say a different state where you'd actually go in and it was like a big gray machine. And I mean big, like, probably almost 8 feet tall by about 4 feet wide. You'd pull a curtain, you'd hit this rod and the curtain would close behind you. And it had all these bunch of little levers that you would push. And it's my very first time voting, and my mother, she and I were going to vote. And so we went in and you're pushing these little levers to actually register your vote. And then and then at the end, there's a big, almost like a lottery handle that you'd grab, at the side and pull it down, and it would go shoot, 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 and then they'd all reset. And it would also open the curtain behind you. So we sort of walked out, and it was a bit like you'd been to the moon, sort of like I get a moon again, but it was a very, very unusual experience. So it's my first time voting that's what I did.
That is quite memorable. I have to say, it just kind of reminds me of something you would see out of a movie, maybe. Commissioner Sinai, it looks like you have something to share, and I think Commissioner Yee after that has a memory to share too.
So the year I became a U.S. citizen was my junior year in high school, and it was also a presidential election year. And I remember I became a U.S. citizen in May or June, probably late May or early June. The next morning, I went straight to go get my passport because I was traveling at the end of June. So I filled out all that. I registered to vote 5 minutes after I became a U.S. citizen. And I got my passport within 24 hours. My mom was like, "When did you apply for this?" It was probably the fastest ever passport created because I'd gone to the federal office. And the woman liked me and put a speed on it. And she had heard my story that I just became a U.S. citizen, and she got really excited for me. And I just remember just that feeling of I get to vote as well. And it was the first time my whole family voted because my parents kept going back and forth about becoming a U.S. citizen. But once I did my paperwork, they're like, she's doing it, we'll do it. So we all became citizens at the same time. I think the second most memorable time I voted was probably when my name was on the ballot. And that was kind of a surreal experience, and having my kids there, and they were learning how to read. So I was like, "Can you find mommy's name?" And we kind of made it this whole production. And then my daughter would go from my ballot to my husband's ballot, which you're not supposed to go. But because we usually vote, we counter each other's votes. We cancel each other's votes out. She just wanted to make sure he was voting correctly for mine. So that was a pretty memorable voting experience.
That's a great story. Thank you, Commissioner Sinai. Okay, let's go to Commissioner Yee.
Thank you, Chair. I'll actually respond to both prompts. The first by saying, for those in Mono County, you'd be heartened by how many cars around here in Oakland, Alameda County, have a Save Mono Lake bumper sticker. It's actually pretty common. And even though it's quite far away, we care about your part of the state as well. As for voting, let's see, 1996, in mid-October of 1996, my wife and I became parents through adoption. And our oldest child came into our lives as a newborn mid-October. And then in November, there were the elections. So we went to our local polling place to vote and had our newborn adopted child with us. And so we get to the polling place and we have the kind of the League of Women Voters, senior citizens running the polling place. And they took an interest, the two ladies there took an interest, senior ladies took an interest in our newborn. And they took an even greater interest in my wife because they were whispering to each other, oh, these modern women, because there she was, they thought postpartum, all trim and fit, and with her newborn, and they just couldn't believe it. So the voting all went well, but that's the thing I remember about that election is pulling a fast one on the ladies there working the polling place.
That's a great story, Commissioner Yee. Commissioner Kennedy.
My most memorable voting moment was when I didn't get to vote. It was my first UN mission. I was in East Timor at the time of the elections in 2000, starting the preparations for elections in East Timor in 2001. And because when I left, I didn't know what my mailing address would be or anything. I had Washington, D.C. send my ballot to the election division at UN headquarters in New York, figuring that they would be able to put it in a pouch to me. Well, they're like, oh, we don't have to put it in a pouch. We've got another staffer going out there. And because it was 2000 and the Millennium Summit and every leader in the world was showing up at UN headquarters, security was so tight that they pretty much closed UN headquarters to all but those heads of state, and the staffer's contract was delayed. And so she wasn't able to hand me my ballot until several weeks after the election. Well, luckily, I thought, a US warship paid a port visit to Dili, East Timor, and I managed to get a ticket for a tour of the ship. And so I was very happy to get on board the ship and find the first crew member and say, I need to speak with your voting assistance officer, only to be told that the voting assistance officer was on shore. So I didn't get to vote.
Commissioner Kennedy, I would have to give you credit, though, for all the effort that you tried to try to vote. But that it does make. Go ahead.
Since then, I've perfected overseas voting. I've had occasion to do it on multiple occasions. The Pentagon does have a relay service, so that you can. I was able to send my ballot to the Federal Voting Assistance Program at the Pentagon, which used their relay service to transmit it appropriately to Riverside County back when I lived in Riverside County. So I've gotten better at this over the years.
Well, I do have to say, one of the benefits of hearing all these stories from everybody is that you learned some really interesting things. And I never knew that. So that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, every U.S. military installation and every U.S. Navy ship is supposed to have a voting assistance officer. So that's why I was so thrilled when I heard that the warship was going to be in Dili Harbor on election day. I was like, I've got this nailed. And then they were on shore.
Great. Does this inspire anybody else to share a story?
Well, I just want to say that's, thank you, Commissioner Kennedy, for saying that, because that's information that I didn't know. And, I did live overseas too. Of course, I wasn't able to vote at that time, but I'm thinking anyone who's listening here, I'm sure has learned a lot. Anyone who's traveling different areas, that you can do that. That's really interesting. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I'll also say this, if a commissioner would like to pose a prompt, commissioners to share some memory, whether it's around the regions that we're looking at this time around, or if there's some other question prompt that you might want to have us discuss, feel free to raise your hand. Commissioner Fernandez, thank you.
It's kind of a voting memory, not my voting memory, but my mom's. My parents were born in Mexico, so she eventually became a citizen. And so after the first day she was sworn in, of course, we signed her up to make sure that she was registered to vote. So this is how the voting went. Every time there was a primary or a major election, she would be like, "Hey, Lise," which is me, her nickname for me. What does this mean? How are you voting? So like, I almost had 2 votes for everything because she was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good position to be in. So it kind of depended if it was me or maybe some more of my sisters, and we might have had a debate, and that's how she would decide how she would vote. So for us, it was kind of fun because we'd just kind of be around the table talking to her about it. And I can't remember if at this time, I don't believe they had ballots in Spanish. So she couldn't really read the information. So I think for me, that's a really like a fond memory of, my mom still wanting to vote, not really understanding the issues, but, getting us around the table to kind of discuss what our positions were. So for me, that's kind of a fun memory.
That's great. I love that. And it helped her to really also understand what were the issues as well too, because she was discussing it with you. So that's awesome. Commissioner Sinai.
Commissioner Kennedy sparked a memory, but kind of similar but different. My parents are from South America, and for a long time, a lot of South America was under military dictatorship. And then after military dictatorship, basically it's compulsory to vote. You don't get a choice. And so you have to show that you voted. And so I remember the first election, I think it was Peruvian election after the dictatorship, my mom just grabbing all the kids and having to go somewhere in downtown LA. It wasn't the consulate, but it was somewhere. And it was all these Peruvians. And I just remember thinking, gosh, there's this many Peruvians in Los Angeles. And, just the excitement of voting. But it was also very stressful because you have to vote or you can't go. It's in your documents, so you can't go back into your country if you haven't voted. And so it was a whole different feel. My parents have always had this different feel than the feel of the excitement of voting, because it's a right, but it's also a privilege, and you're choosing to vote versus you have to do it or there's going to be all these consequences if you don't do it. And so I think having been exposed to what it was like to live in a military dictatorship, because we would go to visit in South America when my family were in those situations, as well as our democracy, is one of the reasons I'm very passionate about civic engagement and engaging and making sure that all feel welcome into and finding their place to engage.
Thank you so much. That's actually a interesting kind of perspective. I mean, would never have realized that was, it was conducted in such a way that people did not really feel that it was a right and a privilege, or at least a positive thing versus a less than positive experience. And so that's good to know. All right. I know that we will be going to our break in about technically 17 minutes, if I'm counting correctly. I'd like to see if anybody has a additional memory. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson.
Actually, Commissioner Fernandez's comment about discussing, how did you vote, that sort of thing brought up, which I realize that we sort of do all the time. My husband and I sort of joined with a bunch of different friends many years ago. In California, you have all those propositions. And, going through the propositions is always what do you think? What do you think? And so we actually had a group, which we did several voting times. And you'd take about 2 or 3 of them. You'd have divided it out, and you'd have to come and present it and say, okay, now what do you think? But you could say what you wanted, but you had to say pros and cons of them, which was really, really interesting and fun. And then, children sort of but well, we do the same thing now, I realize, with my children, because when my two oldest who were voters, then they went off to college. So you do that remotely, and they would look up different sources for information. So it was really interesting having that whole discussion, which, and one thing I think I did want to bring up, because we have that voter pamphlet, and I have not always voted in California. For many, many years I have, but we're one of the few states that do that. And it's a marvelous, marvelous thing, because it really kind of gives you, there are pros and cons of it, but it is a source for information, as opposed to, well, there's nothing out there, just what commercials you happen to see on television. And, I hearing Commissioner Fernandez, I thought, no, we're gonna have to bring all that back with, the larger group, or have more organized meetings about each proposition, voting time, because it was really fun. And it was really talking about getting people engaged in the whole voting process. So you might have to take that on for the commission after we're done with the maps.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Anderson, for sharing that too. That is, it's interesting, because I guess in some ways each state does do their own thing. And I guess I always thought that if there is a similar type of voters pamphlet that we have as well too. So good news all, we do have a caller.
We do. Caller 0494, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute at this time. Caller 0494, your speaker order number will be number 5. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Hi. Yes. Am I allowed to talk now?
Absolutely. Floor is yours.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Sharon Hutchinson. I live in Clovis, which is in Fresno County, but I'm actually calling in today to give input on Mariposa County. I just wanted to urge the commissioners that when drawing the lines, to make sure to keep the valley floor and the foothill and mountain communities separate. These two areas definitely don't belong together in districts. They are different economies, demographics, and they definitely have different policy concerns. My family and I are longtime property owners in Mariposa County. We have owned a cabin in Wawona for generations that we use primarily as income property and family recreation. And there are many other families in our Wawona neighborhood that have owned their properties for a long time and use that property for the same means, which is, income and family recreation. And that is to say that Mariposa County and other counties like Tuolumne and Calaveras, all the counties that are in that zone G, heavily are are heavily reliant on an economy based on recreation and tourism. And that is just not the case for the Valley. You know, down here, our economy is reliant on agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing, warehouse distribution. And, you know, the seasonal and year-round residents in the mountains rely heavily on tourism, right? So like rental properties, hotels, restaurants, you know, the like. But the demographics in the Central Valley and the mountain communities are also very different, right? So like, I just recently read some new census data that shows that in the valley's urban areas are growing more diverse. We have more Latino folks here, a lot more younger folks taking over. And quite frankly, folks here are really struggling with income inequality. And that is not the case for my neighbors in Wawona. We are much more Caucasian and more upper to middle, more upper income, right? And that lends to having different priorities on policy. Again, the Valley is ag-based, so we're concerned about water, drought, farm labor, immigration reform, and the mountains we're more concerned about disaster relief, wildfires, property insurance because of those things, and obviously forest management and protecting the land. So anyway, I just feel like the Valley and mountains deserve their own representation, and I'll just wrap it up. The Valley deserves to be represented by someone that understands our demographics, our need for dignified immigration reform, our ag-based economy, and the mountains deserve to have someone that is invested in protecting tourism and the land. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. That was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just go to our break early? Perhaps Christian, is it okay if we play the 20-minute video while we're on break?
Sure thing.
Let's do that. And hopefully, for anyone who is watching and has not seen the 20-minute video, it is actually a very interesting and it's very instructive. So at least there's something that people can also hopefully walk away having learned something new as a result of being a part of this input meeting. So let's go ahead and let's go to break. We do need to come back, I believe at 3:45, which is when the next public input session will begin. So we'll go ahead and we will take a 25-minute break. And during that time, we'll play the 20-minute video also.
I do see a caller.
Yes. Oh, you do? Oh, wait. Is that the same person who just called in? I think.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and let's just take our break. We'll be back at 3:45, at which time Commissioner Anderson will be taking over as the chair for that second half.
Welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Community of Interest Input Meeting. We also encourage you to visit the Communities of Interest tool to draw a map and describe your community by visiting drawmycacommunity.org. Now, for anyone who has joined us recently, we are offering a language line for the Spanish speakers to listen to the meeting in their native language, and a separate line for those who wish to provide public comment or public input. Could I please have our interpreter provide our language line numbers and the information to provide public input?
Hi, this is the interpreter.
Thank you. Could you please read the translation of full call-in instructions?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. You're welcome. Aquellos que deseen escuchar la reunión en español, llamen al 888-566-1377. ingresen el número telefónico de la reunión, el número de identificación, perdón, de la reunión 389-1010. De nuevo, ese número es 855-566-1377 e ingresen el número de la reunión 389-1010 para aquellos que deseen escuchar la reunión en español. Si desea dar su comentario público, el número es 877-853-5247. De nuevo, el número para dar su comentario público es 877-853-5247. Necesitará ingresar el número 889-6138-6844. Tendrá que llamar a este nuevo número para poder dar su comentario público. Si necesita un intérprete para dar su comentario, habrá uno disponible en este número. Si llama para dar un comentario, no cuelgue o perderá su lugar en la fila. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, as a reminder, even though we're focusing on the specific counties, Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Mono, and Inyo, anyone in California may call in anywhere in the state to provide public input. Now, I'm going to pass this over to Katie, our comment moderator, to continue with any public input. And we'll start with people who are registered, then open the phone lines if there's time for the next session. And Katie, could you please go ahead and read the full call-in instructions as well?
I was actually going to ask you, Chair, if I could just go ahead and do those because we don't have our registered participants at this time.
Thank you.
We will do, welcome to the public input session. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. And when prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 889-6138-6844 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press *9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says the host would like you to talk and to press *6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And the Commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and 15 seconds remaining. It is the Commission's goal to find the area on the map you would like to discuss prior to your testimony. If you are within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention it by name. Once we are able to locate your area, your 3-minute testimony will begin. Let's see. At the end of your public... Oh, wait. No, I didn't need to read that part. I apologize. At this time, we do not have any callers in the queue, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. We might give it a couple of minutes here. We do have a few appointments for this time block, and we will give them a chance to call in. At this point, I might pause just for a few minutes and possibly go to that 5-minute video, allowing people a chance to log in, figure out what they're doing, and then call in. Welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. Communities of Interest Input Meeting. At this time, we're listening to anyone who is calling in for their community of interest. And I will turn this over to our Katie, to our comment moderator.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would like to invite those that have called in to please press star 9 on their telephone keypad to raise their hand indicating they wish to give comment. As for a caller with the last 43739, if you wish to give comment, please press star 9 to raise your hand. There we go. Caller 3739, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6. Caller 3739, you are unmuted. Your speaker order number will be number 6. If you will please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm a Fresno County resident and an elementary school teacher in Fresno. I will be giving input today about Eastern Fresno County, Eastern Madera County, and their relationship to other foothill mountain areas of Mariposa, Calaveras, and Tuolumne counties. Like many Valley residents, my family and I have spent years traveling up to the foothill and Sierra Nevada communities. We've spent a lot of time hiking, camping, boating, jet skiing, and enjoying the outdoors in the beautiful national parks and the lakes that are in the northeast of the valley floor. The foothill and mountain communities are very different from the valley in terms of topography, demographics, economy, and the issues we face. Looking at a map, we can see where the valley ends and the foothill mountains begin. The eastern portion of Fresno County and the eastern portion of Madera County are both very similar to each other and very similar to Mariposa, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and the other mountain counties. They're essentially one cohesive region. The communities around Huntington Lake, Shaver Lake, and Pine Flat Lake in Fresno County, and the communities of Oakhurst, Coarsegold, and Bass Lake in Madera County should be included in the districts with the mountain counties and the national parks. It is okay to split Fresno and Madera counties in order to respect the differences between the valley floor and the foothill mountain communities. Excuse me. Our valley economy is heavily reliant on agriculture, and we always worry about water and air quality, as obvious today. Valley communities are heavily Latino, and although we have many small rural towns, we also have several large urban centers that need focused representation. The foothill and mountain communities rely heavily on recreation and tourism to drive their economy, and forest management is always a concern. The foothill mountain area has small unincorporated communities that are less diverse than the valley, and the residents are always concerned with wildfires. Again, there are clear differences between the valley floor and the foothill mountain communities. In order to respect those differences and for the residents to get the representation they deserve, the commission should look to split Eastern Fresno and Eastern Madera County and join them with Mariposa, Tuolumne, and Calaveras counties. Thank you so much.
1 minute, caller. If I could, could I ask a question, please?
Okay.
Could you give us a little bit more geographic description of what you mean by Eastern Fresno and Eastern Madera counties? Like what landmarks, cities?
I'm looking, let me look at the map, okay? Eastern Madera. I'm trying to pull up a map. Sorry, I had my notes typed and I'm looking.
Okay, we also, if you can see the map that we're showing, if that helps.
So I'm referring to lake communities. That's what I'm referring to when I say the Eastern Madera County or the Eastern Madera.
Okay, so the lake communities of what? What you mentioned? Was it Shaver Lake?
Yes.
Okay. And
yes, and Huntington. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Shaver Lake and Huntington Lake and Pine Flats in Fresno.
Pine Flats in Fresno. And in Madera?
Yes.
The like Yosemite Lakes, is it? Or is that too far west?
Chair, she actually hung up.
Oh, she did.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
However, we do have 006 and 007 here. 006, we will be starting with you now, and 007, you will be up next. 006, I will be promoting you now. 006, your speaker order number will be number 7. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. You can now enable your audio and video in the lower left corner of your screen. If you will please remind the mapper of what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
My name is Arthur Calloway. The area that I would like to discuss is the 25th Congressional District, which is the Antelope Valley, Santa Clarita Valley, and Simi Valley currently.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, so I wanted to discuss that the recommendation that I would have for our Congressional 25th District is to change the district to exclude Simi Valley, because Simi Valley District actually drowns out the demographics that are predominant in the Antelope Valley. The Antelope Valley cities are predominantly minority cities. Predominantly Lancaster Palmdale is Hispanic. And the way that they cut the district into, if you looked at the map for Lancaster, there's even a portion of Lancaster that does not count, that falls into the 23rd. Everybody in the Antelope Valley has more in common with people in Santa Clarita because of the Plant 42. There's a lot of people that work in Santa Clarita that works in the Antelope Valley, a lot of people that live in the Antelope Valley that work down in Santa Clarita. I would say that reflects the political leaning and the demographic leaning of the area. If you have any knowledge of the Antelope Valley, it is there is currently a lot of things that shows the actual suppression and oppression of the minority community, to include a Department of Justice settlement that was done towards that is against the sheriffs for the disparaging treatment that they did to Section 8 people, to people of color, and the homeless. Now is the ACLU has sued them for problems with the homeless. And it is just very important for our representation to be able to reflect who's in the actual community of Antelope Valley and Santa Clarita. One second, I'll make sure that I did. And this also trickles into our schools as well. We are predominantly minority schools, and we need to have the ability to have representation to make sure that we get the funding that we need, to make sure that that funding is actually applied to the places that it needs to be applied to. And then to wrap up, basically the recommendation is to put Simi Valley in with like-minded people, probably to the south and east of it, and then to include all of Lancaster into the 25th Congressional District. Thank you.
1 minute, caller, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Could you please clarify, you're very clear about saying it's not Simi Valley, but could you please clarify what cities that you do want to include in your community of interest?
So if you see the green line and how it dips into Lancaster and Quartz Hill,
Yes.
That area, yes, be below the red, below Roseman South, that should be included. So part of Lancaster, you can live in Lancaster and depending on the street, be in the 23rd district and then across the street be the 25th because of that dip right there.
So it's Lancaster and what other cities that you would like
Quartz
to be
Hill,
together?
Lancaster should all be included. That green line should just be flat up against the bottom of Roseman.
Okay, so you're saying including all the way to Santa Cruz, everything that's shown on the map now,
Yes.
with
Yes,
except
ma'am.
including. Okay, thank you very much.
Including that part of Lancaster and then excluding Simi Valley. And I think that that'll be a true representation of our community.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Right now we will have 007. 007, your speaker order number will be number 8. If you will please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Okay, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, great. I don't see a picture. I'm not quite sure how to get my video on, but maybe you're not doing video, right?
We can see you.
Okay, great. I can't see myself, so I'm glad you can see me. Anyway, I'm Janet Carl. I'm from the Eastern Sierra little community of Lee Vining. I'm a retired state park ranger, and I think you've probably had some other folks from our area talk about the Central Sierra community of interest today. We are currently in the Congressional District 8, which goes all the way down to San Bernardino, and many of us in the Eastern Sierra would like to have other people in a district that truly represents the interests. This would be something like Inyo, Mono, Alpine, Amador, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Calaveras, the Lake Tahoe Basin, and a very small part of Madera County that has Devil's Postpile National Monument in it. And those are places that share many things, like sustainable tourism is one of our goals. We have, it's a resort area, so we have housing issues with, the local workers competing with second homeowners, vacationers, Airbnbs for housing. There's mining pressure, health of our forest and watershed, and adequate staff to manage public lands. So all the people in the Central Sierra area are working with these issues in the mountains. So we definitely have a community of interest. Right now, our Frank Bigelow, our state representative, is on the west side, separated by a mountain range of the Sierra and Madera County. And our congressional representative is down in San Bernardino. And when Paul Cook was our rep, I continually asked him for meetings and even just phone calls. And it was just really hard to get a response for our issues that were so different from what he was front and center for him down in the desert. We also have healthcare issues, broadband. We share Highway 395 as the main corridor. We are experiencing wildfire as we speak. I'm looking out at a smoky sky. We're all dealing with taking care of our forests, worrying about our snowpack, and transportation issues with weather related. We're dealing with snow. We're dealing with closed passes in winter. So thank you, Redistricting Committee, for listening to us in the Eastern Sierra and the Central Sierra, to take an opportunity to design a district that would really truly represent like-minded needs and people dealing with similar issues. So we hope you will consider a Central Sierra district for us. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was all of our callers and appointments at this time.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Katie. Could you go ahead and read the full instructions, including for public comment at this time?
Absolutely. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input and general public comment by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-829-9227. 853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 889-6138-6844 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says the host would like you to talk and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And for those that have just called in, if you will please press star 9 to raise your hand indicating you wish to comment. As for caller with the last 4 7679, if you called to comment at this time, please press star 9. This will raise your hand indicating you wish to comment. Perfect. Caller 7679, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute at this time by pressing star 6. Hi, caller 7. Hi, you are unmuted. Your speaker order number.
Please make sure your computer.
Will you please mute your computer?
Feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your
Hello?
Hi, will you please mute your live stream audio?
I'm trying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm good.
There you are. Your speaker order number will be number 9, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Okay. Right now?
Right now.
Okay. Are you ready for me?
We sure are.
Okay. I don't see the, well, I guess I'm muted. My name is Sally Miller. I have lived in Mono County for 37 years. I was a county planning commissioner for 16 years, where I participated in a citizens appointed committee to recommend districts for Mono County supervisorial districts. I'm very marginally familiar with your process, therefore. And I wanted to talk today about recommending a congressional district. I support the Central Sierra Assembly District people have talked about. I'd like to also recommend a congressional district that encompasses. I was a county planning commissioner for 16 years, where I participated in a citizens appointed committee. Hello, I think I unmuted myself by mistake. Can you still hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to recommend a congressional district that is based in the Sierra, and my reasons are as follows. There are a lot of commonalities from north of Lake Tahoe, such as Nevada County and Placer County, all the way down to northern Inyo County and over to the west side of the Sierra, including Yosemite and the Mother Lode Country. We're rural. I won't get into politics other than to say that all the citizens who live in these counties and communities are independent. We share mountains, and the mountainous part of the Sierra Nevada is where we live, is common ground. We also are virtually dependent on tourism for our economies. I think with respect to healthcare, we have a lot in common. For folks on the east side of the Sierra, most of us travel, and also in the Tahoe Basin, to the Reno-Tahoe area or I should say to the Reno area, Reno-Carson area in Nevada for our healthcare that isn't minor things. And we really need a more cohesive system that's going to protect our rural communities. And on the west side, I don't know exactly where folks travel, but if I were to look at the boundaries and the transportation corridors related
to this district, it would be US 395 on the east, Highway 49 on the west, and then 50, 80, and 88. And of course, we are very deeply connected to Yosemite in Mono County in the summers, but in the winter,
30 seconds.
there is no access over to those counties. That's all I'll say for now. The other thing that I think we share is a deep concern about fire and forest management. Thank you.
Chair, you're on mute. Were you trying to ask for? Oh, she already hung up.
I was. I think she hung up.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was on mute. Okay. Well, thank you. At this time, it's 4:40. You might want, in case someone might want to call in for public comment. Let's go to let's say one of our, which videos did we do already?
We've played them all, Chair.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go to our, the Spanish video. Please put the Spanish video on. Thank you. Welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Community of Interest Input meeting. Now, for anyone who wants to join us recently, we're offering a language line for Spanish language speakers to listen to in the meeting in their native language, and a separate line for those who wish to provide public comment or public input. Could I please have the Spanish interpreter go ahead and read the call-in instructions?
Yes, is that the full call-in instructions?
Yes, including public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, esta es la intérprete. Les voy a leerles para llamar. Para los hispanohablantes que gusten escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor marquen el 888-566-1377. De nuevo, para escuchar esta reunión en español, ingresen el número de identificación para la reunión, que es el 389-1010. De nuevo, el número de teléfono es 888-566-1377 y pueden ingresar el número de identificación de la reunión, que es el 389-1010 para escuchar esta reunión en español. Si desea hablar para dar su comentario público, el número de teléfono es el 877-853-5247. De nuevo, el número de teléfono para dar sus comentarios es el 877-853-5247. Usted va a necesitar ingresar el número 889-6138-6844. Usted va a necesitar este número nuevo para poder dar su comentario público. Si usted necesita el servicio de un intérprete para proveer sus aportaciones, habrá un intérprete disponible durante la llamada. Si usted está llamando para hablar, por favor no cuelgue, si no perderá su lugar en la fila. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. So this session is specifically dedicated to those in Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Mono, and Inyo counties, but all Californians could call in. And at this time, we're taking community of interest input. We're also taking public comment. And Katie, could you please read the full instructions on the call-in?
Yes, Chair. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the Commissioners will be taking community of interest input and general public comment for items not on the agenda. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. it is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 889-6138-6844 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you'll be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says the host would like you to talk and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak. And again, please turn down the live stream volume. And we do not have anyone in the queue at this time, Chair.
Thank you. Just a reminder to visit our website at wedrawthelinesca.org. You can also sign up for our emails to learn more about the Commission, our meetings, our updates, and announcements. And please connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's at We Draw the Line CA. Again, We Draw the Lines CA. And now, this input meeting is not the only way to provide public input. There are numerous ways to provide public input to the Commission. The COI public input meetings take place throughout the summer and are coming to a conclusion. Visit wedrawthelinesca.org for more information. The Community of Interest Mapping Tool, which is you can get also through our website at wedrawthelinesca.org, or go directly to drawmycacommunity.org. This online tool is available in English, Spanish, Simplified Chinese, Traditional Chinese, Vietnamese, Tagalog, Korean, Armenian, Farsi, Arabic, Russian, Japanese, Punjabi, Khmer, Hmong, and Thai. Tutorials are also available in those languages. You can give input on our website at www.wedrawthelinesca.org and click on the Draw My Community icon. By email at votersfirstact@crc.ca.gov. Now notice this one's a .gov, email is .gov. All the other websites and the our website and the community tool is .org. Or by mail to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission, 721 Capitol Mall, Suite 260, Sacramento, California, 95814. And as a reminder, if you need an interpreter to provide input on any day when there's no language line, please submit your request at least 5 business days prior to that meeting. You can submit your request via email to interpreter.request@crc.ca.gov on the COI meeting appointment form, or call the business office at 916-323-0323. Now, in the coming weeks, we have 4 community of interest input meetings. The first is tomorrow, Saturday, it's August 21st at 9 a.m., focusing on the counties of El Dorado, Nevada, Placer, Sacramento, Sierra, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba counties and their surrounding areas. And we'll have a Spanish listening line and a Spanish interpreter available. The second meeting is on Monday, August 23rd at 3 p.m., focusing on Del Norte, Humboldt, Mendocino, Lake, Napa, Sonoma, and Trinity counties and their surrounding areas. It will also have a Spanish listening line and a Spanish interpreter available. On Tuesday, August 24th at 3 p.m., the meeting will be focused on Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Solano counties and their surrounding areas. For this meeting, we'll have Spanish, Mandarin, Russian, and Cantonese listening lines and interpreters available. And on Wednesday, August 25th at 3 p.m., we'll have a COI input meeting focusing on Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Tulare counties, and their surrounding areas. This meeting will have a Spanish listening line and a Spanish interpreters available. Registration for each meeting closes 2 calendar days before 5 p.m. The next Commission business meeting will be on August 31st at 9:30 in the morning. Now remember, you're not required to make an appointment to provide input at COI meetings, community of interest meetings. However, it is recommended. You can also call in the day of the meeting. At this time, our meetings are still being held virtually, so anyone in California can provide input. Please go to our website at wedrawthelinesca.org for meeting information. At this time, I don't see anyone in the queue, and we have been here a while. I believe we've sort of certainly been here hoping for other public comment or anything like that. Do we have any additional questions or comments from our commissioners? I don't see anything. And we lost it. We had a caller here, but they probably went to the online tool. So thank you very much, everyone. I think I'm about to call this meeting adjourned, and I want to thank our line drawers, our staff, all our video helpers, and particularly Katie, our moderator, who always does a fantastic job, and including our Spanish interpreter, Margarita. Thank you very much for your assistance today. And this meeting is adjourned.